Okay, so like I said, we are doing an audio podcast. We need to then capture some audio. So now we look into selecting the right microphone for the job. We are focusing two kind of categories, like external recorders and external microphones. So, how do we select the right mic for the job? The basic thing that I would always say, don't use the computer's internal microphone. Nowadays we have a very good internal microphones in laptops, and it captures very good audio when you are using like a voice over IP, like a link or a Skype call. That works very fine. But if you're doing a recording, like a podcast, and sometimes the computer is doing a lot of things, and then it's going to heat up, and the fans starts working inside the computer, and that sound is actually recorded to the audio, so that's not good. And the other one is that maybe you want to use that computer during the podcast. Maybe you have some kind of notes or stuff you want to look up from the computer, and typing on the computer is recorded to the audio. So basic rule, don't use the computer's internal microphone at all. Then the other one is select the microphone depending on the number of speakers you have. Like I said in the early slides, that if you are just talking by yourself, then there's the one kind of microphones to use. Or do you have a group of people that are all sitting in the around the table? Do they all have their own mics, or do you only have one mic for all? And one thing is a key thing when you are doing actually those recording. I'm saying this, I think, in a couple of slides just to make a point that always monitor your recording while you are recording, not afterwards. That helps a lot, because then you can actually pick up if somebody's voices are not picked up by the microphone, or there's something other voices that are not that should be there, and actually the microphone is getting that. And whatever microphone you have or you buy or do, then test before actually use. You can just go to that location you want to record, or make some kind of test by yourself and see how they are actually capturing your audio. So first, let's look at the external recorders. If you don't want to use a computer, you want to use external recorders. There are a lot of them, and I'm just displaying few of them here. I think basically the external recorders are best for recording a group of people and or interviews. You can use them for just one person talking to them, but mainly if you look at the first one, the Zoom H1, or the second one, Edirol machine, they are really good microphones that they are having on these devices, but they are stereo mics, and they are capturing all the audio around that machine. They are not like a direct microphones. So you could use those just one person talking, but then you have to look where you are actually talking, because you could get some kind of other voices that you don't want to have on those recordings. But because they are external recorders, they are very easy to carry around. So if you're making interviews, you could use those, or you are like a different kind of places where you want to record. Those are very easy to put just in the pocket, and when you want to do the podcast, just put it on the table and start recording. Because you don't need the computer when you're doing this recording, so it's much easier. And of course, nowadays, the smartphones can be used as a recorders. I would say that don't use the internal mics on smartphones either. They have decent microphones nowadays, so they can work. Once again, test before actually use. But I would suggest the use like some kind of external microphones when using a smartphone as well. There's one example, the Rode SmartLav Plus, that you can actually just hooked up in the iPhone or Android devices and use that microphone to record an audio. And there are different kind of microphones for smartphones. Then let's talk about external USB microphones. And I have to say, USB microphones. Please always use the USB versions of microphones when you're using those with a computer. That keeps the analog part out of it, and only analog is the one that's happening before it hits or when it's hitting the microphone. So when the sound comes from your mouth and hitting the microphone, that's analog, and then it's always digital from that microphone to the computer, and that just makes the sound much more better. And when you are using USB, that's no hassle. It's easy to set up. Just plug it in, and it mainly always works. Well, it works, yeah. And that's the good part. Once again, I'm saying here that select the microphone depending on the number of speakers you have. I have here like two examples. The first one on the left side is the Rode Podcaster microphone, which is a very good microphone for podcasting, USB microphone. But that's like a direct microphone if you have only one speaker, and you need some kind of holder that holds the microphone by your mouth. You could use that like an interview microphone, but I wouldn't suggest to do that actually, because always when you are moving the microphone, you can get some kind of other sounds. So put that in some kind of holder, and just that's like a one-person microphone. The other one, the microphone on the right-hand side, is the Blue Microphones Yeti Studio or other Yeti, not Yeti, Yeti microphone series that they have, and on those they come with their own holder, so they are just, you can just put that on a table, and on that microphone you have a selector, and you can select that microphone to be actually like a direct microphone, so you can be just one person talking to it, or you can select it to be like an two-way microphone. So if you have an interview that is sitting just against you, then it's picking up audio from you and from the other person. Or you can turn it up to the selection that it records all around the table, and then you can have this microphone center in your table, and everybody is talking to that one microphone, and it picks up every audio. And the good thing about these both microphones is that you can hook in your headphones directly to those microphones, so you can listen and listen to your audio straight from that microphone. Monitor that whatever sounds you're recording is the ones you actually want to record, and you can actually hear everybody that is around the table, like if you're using the Yeti Studio. And of course, when you're using USB microphones, you have to hook it up in some computer, so you always need some kind of computer and recording software on that computer. But like I said, any computer can do that, and you can use the free Audacity software on your computer. So then, what about USB headsets? We have those already in a couple of places, and those are very good when you're using voice over IP calls like Skype or link calls. Sometimes they could be a good microphones for doing podcast. Of course, one speaker because it's on your head. Test before actually use. Even though you have USB headsets, sometimes the microphone on those USB headsets aren't not so good. Even though it's digitalized straight from those microphones to that computer, but the microphone part is not so good because it's mainly used for voice over IP calls. And of course, you have to beware of the breathing noises because most of these have the microphone directly in front of your mouth. So you have to listen very carefully or watch where you're actually placing the microphone. So you're not getting these sounds on your microphones. So other things you can buy. There are a lot of things actually that you can buy, but a couple of things. A pop filter, which I'm actually using right now when I'm recording this. It's the small thing that comes between the microphone and the person who is speaking. So that eliminates the airs, and if I'm doing the it doesn't affect the microphone. If I take it off, then if I do, it makes that sound. So sometimes when using like when one person you have this direct microphone like the podcaster microphone, then it could be wise to have some kind of pop filter. But then again, listen, monitor, do that. You need a microphone stand if you're using the Rode microphone because you don't want to hold that in your hand while you're talking. You have to be hands-free. There are many of different kind of microphone stands like this. I think it's called gooseneck kind of thing on the left side that looks like a very professional. I have one of those. It's easy to actually set it on the right level when you're speaking. And then there are like simple ones that just sit on the table. And of course, like I said, you have to monitor. So you need to have some kind of headphones. And I would prefer to have this closed over the ear kind of headphones. So you can actually hear what you are actually recording and not the actual sounds that are coming from the room. It's easier then to actually pick up if there are some unwanted noises, or if somebody is talking that I'm actually not hearing that voice through that microphone. And I have to say this, that when you are doing, when you are recording just yourself, if you are doing the podcast and you are the only one speaking, monitor your own audio as well. Feels stupid to hear your voice first, I believe, or somebody has said. But then again, once again, it helps. If you can hear your own voice coming through those headphones, everything is fine. And you're not picking some weird noises behind your voice. So always monitor. That makes your life so much easier.